Hello everyone, this is your Princess in Suburbia. Of course, like I always say, others call me Princess of Suburbia. My name is Princess Fumi Hancock, and welcome to our set where we do things in an authentic fashion. And of course, I have with me a very, very good friend. Her name is Pastor Mary Leonard. Say hello to the audience.
Hello everyone, how are you?
Oh yes. You know what? I have not seen her since, when was the last time we saw? 1996, right?
Yes, a long time.
People, 1996. I had not seen her until this past weekend that we've been actually fellowshipping and enjoying life together, right?
Having a good time. It's been a ball.
So I wanted to share who Mary Leonard is with my audience because there's a lot that we've been talking about. Particularly, there was something that we discussed yesterday, which I felt like this would really be cool for people to hear about. We've been talking about Sentimental Value, which is the movie.
Yes, yes.
And
awesome.
Well, I'm so sorry that you were not able to be a part of the event, but you get to watch it, right? What do you think about it, what you watched?
I thought it was awesome the way the people act out their personalities, but they also were themselves, and they got to be themselves, and they got to demonstrate who they are within the movie, and then it brought out their feelings and the things that they went through, and they were able to share, and they were able to give their values out. We all have values, we all have things that we need to focus on and to, how can I say it, just to develop ourselves. Because as we know that we are somebody in Christ Jesus, everything that God made is good. Said every good and perfect gift is from above. And as we begin to focus
That's the
on
pastor in her preaching already now.
and as we begin to focus on our values, we are somebody. Everyone is somebody. Then we can begin to cultivate that and to bring those things out that's needed.
Well, we were so excited about the movie, and some of the other people that were here on set when we were having the movie, we didn't even realize we were gonna end up with a movie, to tell you the truth. With the way I told you a little bit of the drama that was going on set, and to finally see the final product. Excuse me, people, I have to pull this. You know, your princess, I do my thing in an authentic way. So anyway, and to now see at the end of the day, to actually see the finished product is really overwhelming. One of the things that came out from what you were saying is being able to see the characters develop and see them in actual sense, what their own story versus the actual story in there. And this is something that a lot of the reviewers have said. We got a review from Dove, which is a big foundation, that actually they have to review majority of these movies that are out there. And in fact, there are some distributors out there that will not even consider looking at your movie unless Dove. And one of the things that you said was actually the number one thing that they said about the movie, the fact that it brought out stories, actual stories of the characters. So, and it's great that you mentioned, and you caught up on that too. You mentioned that.
Yes.
I want us to segue into real life issues now, because there was something that you and I were discussing yesterday about your family. And we were just discussing the issue of sentimental value, self-worth, being accepting who you are, and all this sort of stuff. And we're talking about, okay, maybe perhaps down the pipe we'll eventually have a sentimental value tour. And you and I have never talked about this before. You did mention your brother in passing, but you never really
talked about him.
Until last night. So can you just share with me, just share with our audience, in a short, summary, short version of it. Who is he? What is his diagnosis? How does that make you feel? How are you thriving through that? So can you share, because I know there are people out there now that are suffering from a kind of mental illness, or they have family that they're so frustrated with, and I bet your story would actually help.
Yes, I have a brother, and his name is Michael, and he is classified as a schizophrenia. But through it all, we have to know that we can make it, and there's help. And through all his going through, when my mother died, then he began to stay with me. And in this staying with me within my house, I had to change my way of living, and I had to cope with the things that he was going through. He was a nervous wreck. He was saying his best friend had died, and his best friend was my mother. And we're family, so that's a value to me. And I had to try my best to bring it all together. At that time, my brother was not going through therapy at any time because my mother, that was her son, but she didn't push it. If he didn't want it, she didn't push it. I had to seek help for him, social worker. I had to try to put all the pieces back together. And yes, it hurt because it was a change. And how many know when it's a change that develops, issues begin to come up, and it's a change, and it hurts sometimes. Change is part of growth because he groaned in it all. He began to learn how to cook for himself, how to clean for himself, how to do different things that he didn't know to do. Which I
want to stop you right there, because there are people that I've heard, out there that are, even myself with a social work background and a mental health nursing background. I've seen families that have literally been buried because they're so focused on this particular family member that their own lives stopped. Everything else stopped. And when eventually that person is out of the picture, they almost do not recognize themselves anymore.
Wow.
What do you have to say for them? As far as, okay, you got this person in your home, this is the situation, you need to take care of this person. How do you take care of yourself? What are the decisions because you told me that at some point you had to get him out of the house and put him somewhere where he could really
socialize, learn how to.
All right, so talk to my audience on that.
He had to learn how to deal with people and to deal with himself. And I put him in group sessions. I said, you need to talk. He never would talk to nobody except me, and just with me, yes, maybe. And I had to deal with all that because I said life had to go on. My mother passed. I was greatly hurt. But then I said life has to go on for me as well. And I can't just focus all my attention on him. I had to know that there's help somewhere, and I had to push past what I seen, and I had to go into it knowing that this too shall pass. I couldn't just say okay, this is going to be my life forever.
Say that again.
This is going to be my life forever.
You couldn't say that.
I couldn't say that because I was like, I have to have a life. He has to have a life, because at that point I felt like he didn't have no life, and he didn't. But as he began to go to group sessions, as he began to talk out the issues, emotions came up, and he had to change. Like I was saying before, change is growth. Change is good, but we have to embrace it, and we have to want it. And I was always a go-getter, and I just began to push him. He cried. I had to deal with all that emotional part, but I dealt with it. And he saying I can, I was like, yes, you can. And with him, I didn't go, oh, yes, you can, because God said that you can do all things through him that strengthens us. I didn't go through all that with him, but I was praying within and telling him, you can. I got him on therapy, social worker, and I started to spend time talking to him more. I learned him how to wash, how to fold his clothes, how to do this, how to do that. And unless you really know and you talk to him now, you can't really tell. He talks with a slur, but unless you just see him coming down the street, you can't even tell, because he goes out on his own.
So let me answer a question for family members. You know what? We're gonna be right back because this is good. This is just part one. All right. So we're gonna be right back, everyone. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Bye bye.